I'm going to go over this kind of quick because I don't even remember what the locked classes are because I've been playing this game for so long. However, I know that Dwarf is a class that you start with, and Dwarfs are probably one of the strongest races you can be because of how fast they level, the extra shops. They're just amazing. Halflings are also very good. I believe they're unlocked at the start. And I personally think that the best race is Skeleton because they're immune to poisons, which is super huge. They have bone armor, which is amazing. You can set that shit to use on enemy visible because it lasts 10 turns. And set your rune shield to auto use when enemies are visible and adjacent, and then your shields will just automatically be used and you don't even have to think about it. But for the classes, the strongest classes are certainly the ones with trained reactions. So Rogue, Shadowblade, Marauder, Skirmisher is especially strong. Archmage is crazy good. Necromancer's good. I don't believe that you start with those, but I would avoid Berserker if you're new. Avoid Alchemist if you're new. Bulwark is okay. Archer's really good apparently. Arcane Blade is a little confusing. Brawler's amazing. It's not too deep in the game to unlock Brawler. Sun Paladin's amazing. Anno, I wouldn't do it if you're new. Doombringer is amazing if you have the DLC. Both Cursed and Doomed are really good. My first win ever was as a Temporal Warden. They are extremely strong, and I highly recommend them. Solipsis is pretty good. Writhing one's really good too, but for the new players I would recommend picking like a Dwarf or a Halfling and playing as Rogue, Shadowblade, Marauder, Skirmisher, any mix of those, or even a Sun Paladin would be a good learning start just because of how insanely strong they are. Or if you want to go with Archmage, that's also fine. I can't remember if there's locked things that you have to learn on Archmage anymore, but because there used to be books you had to read to get some like categories. And oh yeah, that reminded me to unlock poisons, because poisons are extremely strong in this game. You have to do the Hidden Tunnels quest, which starts at 18, and you have to side with the Assassin Lord, and then it permanently unlocks poisons, and that allows you to take the Prodigy Mystical Cunning at 25, which is extremely powerful. If you have trained reactions with Skirmisher or Rogue and you're playing out of phase, which you'll learn about, like Mystical Cunning is incredible. So yeah, those are the classes and races I would focus on if you're new, and enjoy the game. So you want to get good at Tome of Talmajal, huh? Well, the most important things to do when you start depends on your race, because some starting races get their own starter dungeon. And of course, the very first thing you want to do is clear that. If you're a dwarf or a skeleton or a ghoul, it's pretty straightforward. However, if you're a Drem or doing a Demented class where you start in the Worm, the first thing you want to do is rot out. And it'll put you like right here. And then you're going to enter Corpole, because if you're lucky, you'll get an escort floor 1 and even floor 2. And actually, if you ever come in here and you don't get an escort, sometimes I just kill myself. And you don't choose restart same character, you choose restart new character, because the seeds of the game where your escorts spawn stay the same across the character. So if my current character dies and I start over, I'm going to have these escorts all in the same place. So I'm going to have 2 on Trollmeyer, 1 on Corpole. 3, you get anywhere from 0 to 4 escorts. Sometimes, depending on what class I am, I'll just kill myself and start over if I get less than 3 escorts. Because some classes are harder than others. And as for the escorts, I'll talk about them in a little bit. But after doing the Demented start, you have like 1,000 turns to come here, and you're going to level up a little bit. And then when you have like 150 turns left, you're going to rod back to the worm, and then clear the worm. Alright, so for the other classes, let's say you're a dwarf and you clear everything, or a skeleton, and you do your starting dungeon. The first thing I do is I enter Talmajal, because this level locks it as a zone for escorts. And then I'll leave it immediately and come here and see if I get an escort. Like I said, if you're lucky, you get 2 on core pull. And then after you check 2 floors, you don't do the 3rd floor of core pull. You would go back to Talmajal and then clear it and look for its own escorts. And then you kill Bill after killing Prox. And then you don't go do core pull yet. You go here and you go do the arena quest, which is back here. You kill some guys, you get 2 generics, you leave, and then you come and you run around over here for a minute till you get this quest. You enter here, you kill this guy, and after that you have a bunch of gold, and you hopefully are level 10. And then at level 10, you go to every shop in the game and look for things that you want. The most important item, in my opinion, is finding this. Anything with Voidstalker. If you get this, you pretty much win your early game because of its active, which is the blink. It allows you to gap close, but not only does it gap close, it also buffs you while you are getting closer to them. For instance, I had a really bad run on this guy until my tier 2s. I didn't have any out of phase at all until I found this ring, which I'm still wearing, specifically for the 15% to out of phase. And the reason out of phase is important is this is my defense, and then this is my defense without a phase. As you can see, I'm a lot tankier. My defense goes up, I'm harder to hit. If I do get hit, it hurts a lot less. So that's important. So anyway, you check all your shops. And if you're a magic using class, like if you are a Sun Paladin or a Demented, Writhing one, whatever, I like to go through here and look for elemental weapons because they will completely clear the T1s for you quite easily. Like this. It just costs 70 gold, and early game it would probably do about 40 damage. But it's a must buy. You also check your runes, or your rune shops for good regens. You look for good shields. You look for the lowest teleport cooldown teleport rune you can find, because I slot one every single character. And I found this regen. It was only healing me for about 500 at the beginning of the game. It scales with magic. I found it at the Wizard City. And you also check the Wizard City for rings or necklaces like this. I bought this at the Mage City, which is over here. You can also check these guys, and sometimes they'll have an artifact robe, and if they do, you can kill them, and they'll drop it, and then you can use it. However, you can't like kill them in front of other guys because you'll aggro them. So you just drag these guys into a corner and kill them out of line of sight, and then you just swap spots with them to move them, and then you kill them and take the robe. But it's very rare for them to have an artifact robe. Then you check these shops. You check these shops for things that you would want to buy. You know, low cooldown things. Sometimes you get a good storm shield, which is rare. I don't have a very good one. I did, however, get reflection shield here in this shop at level 30, which is another important thing to do, is you check the shops every 10 levels, 10, 20, 30, 40, even 50. Um, 'Cause you can get some amazing items in these shops that'll just carry your game. So at level 10, after you check all the shops, if you don't get a Void Stalker in Last Hope, you can come here and check here. Sometimes you'll get a Void Stalker. You also want to look for Belt of Unlife, which will prevent you from drowning in Sandworm Lair, which is the place where all the worms run around. And up here, the sand can fall on you, and it'll, you'll die with the sand crushing you. But if you have an Unlife Belt, you just put it on and you wait for the worms to dig you out. So after you're level 10 and you check all these shops and you buy the things you can afford, like a good shield, a good regen, a teleport rune, an elemental weapon if you're a class that uses magic. Otherwise, you just can just use whatever the hell you pick up. You go back to Corpul because you only did the first 2 floors, and then you go clear floor 3. And then if you get a Void Stalker cloak, and you also have to watch every piece of gear for out of phase. I don't know. Like right here. So this is a bad roll. If this was 15 out of phase, this belt would have been amazing. Like 100 life, 30 defense, 15 out of phase. I'd be using it forever. But it's just not that good at 5%. But I always tag things if they have 15 out of phase with 15 out of phase. And this is just after you clear a level. You kill all the monsters. Before you go to the next floor, you scroll down and you read every single one of them and see if they've got an out of phase buff on them. Anyway, you clear Corpul 3. And then you either do Norgos or Skink Caves, depending on if you got a Void Cloak. I'll do Norgos if I don't have a Void Cloak. And if I do get a Void Cloak, I'll go do Skint first. A lot of people I've seen playing this game, they die because they go to the wrong places. Like, they'll go to Old Forest, like, way too early, because this is considered a tier 2. Anyway, you go to Skint, you do the camp, then you come up here, and you finish your T1s with Norgos and Gloom. And then hopefully, I didn't hit 20, but sometimes, depending on your race, if you're a dwarf, you'll certainly hit 20 here. And then you go shop, you hit every shop again, and look for an upgrade. Dwarves also have the bonus, which another thing that makes them amazing, is they have extra shops. Damn, I hate these fucking patrols. So there would be another town right here for dwarves, and you go in here and they have a rune shop and a cloak shop. Dwarves are an amazing race. I think skeletons are the best race because they're immune to poisons. Dwarves are probably second. I enjoy playing Yeek. Halfling are pretty good. Anyway, after you check all your shops at 20, if you're not 20, hopefully you have a Unlife Belt, so that way you can go do Sandworm Lair and not worry about dying if you get stuck. Also, if you get crushed by the sand and stuck, you can use your teleport rune to get out, but that can be very dangerous. Also, blink boots can get you out, but I don't rely on these or buy them. These just happen to be blink. I have them on for the stun immunity. And then other gear you watch for early game is anything with health on it. Like big piles of HP, you want it. Like this has 7 con. I think there's 4 life per con, so this is a decent amount. Anyway, after you are level 20 and you have an Unlife Belt, you go here, and I like to clear Sandworm first because the queen will drop a heart and then you can eat it, and it gives you a level, pretty much. Like you can spend a class point, and some stats. And then I do Maze, and then I'll do Old Forest usually, and then I'll hit 25 between these two depending on if I get alt maze. And then for your Prodigy, at the beginning when you're clearing levels in T1s, you're also going to be holding onto gear with big stats on them. Like I have some of these listed for stats. Usually I'm hoarding gear with magic on it, or even cunning to hit adept or whatever, but magic is something that you will see on a piece of gear, and then you're gonna tag it with 5M, just so you know how much magic is on it, so you can gear stack it and hit the requirements for ethereal form. And another trick to hitting the requirements for ethereal form is being out of phase, because right now my defense is let's say it's not over 40, and then once I use this, it gives me more defense, so you'll hit the requirement by being out of phase. And then after you are at your first Prodigy, if you're playing well and you're playing out of phase, you're essentially going to be unkillable. And another very important thing to do is most classes have survival unlocked, and you want device mastery maxed by like level 23 or something to 25-ish, because it lowers the cooldown on your cloak here to be pretty much like a 98% uptime. Like it's got a 6 cooldown and a 6 active duration or whatever. And then I literally just press M and open up my thing here, and I set it to auto use when visible, because it's never the wrong move. Using the Void Cloak to go out of phase is never the wrong move. If you're really low on health, sometimes you'll want to use a shield or something instant. Use a shielding rune, and then you can use the item to go out of phase. But being out of phase is extremely important because of just the massive amounts of unkillable it makes you. And then you clear the rest of the T2s, and once you hit 25, you can go kill Urkus as well. So you go kill Urkus, which is talking to the woman in here. You get the quest here. When it's lightning, you clear every tier 2. The tier 2s would be Daikara. And if you get alt Daikara, the last zone can be pretty deadly. So you gotta be careful. If it's just the big volcano, it's a big circular map, and if you get in the wrong area, you're probably dead. And then after I clear Daikara, I will go do Halfling Ruins here. And if you get lucky, you'll get the random guy in there that drops the quest that opens up the Ogre Vault. I think it's called Conclave Vault, and it's right here. And then I'll also clear that. And after I do that, oh yeah, if you get the pop-up to do the Dark Crypt, which it says something about a woman screaming, never do it, because you'll die in there. But if you are near the mountains and you get the Hidden Tunnels quest about you hear a man crying, you always help men. You're going to accept that quest and save the dude. But when you save the dude, you're going to side with, it's called Trapped. You're going to side with the Assassin Lord. You pretty much just talk to him and be like, oh, I like money. And then that will open up the portal for you. It will, if you have the DLC for cults. It's called, what's the cults one called? It doesn't matter what it's called. Forbidden Cults or something. But if you have the DLC, the Strange Portal here will allow you to font your items, which is something we can discuss later when I'm at the font. And yeah, you just clear all these areas, and then you clear Ruined Dungeon after you do the vaults down here, which would be Halfling and Ogre Vault. And then you can enter Dreadfell. God damn, I hate these patrols. But yeah, you never fucking do Spellblaze, because you'll probably die. I also don't ever do this graveyard. Elven Ruins is something we do later. Oh my god. Anyway, we'll talk about it after I clear Dreadfell. Just to review real quick, early game, when you're clearing all the T1s, you're looking for items with regen, stats, stun immunity, and most importantly, out of phase. But if you see any items with magic, cunning, strength, and you already know what prodigy you're going to take, you need to keep the relevant gear with the plus to those stats. So, notably, you will be hoarding magic gear on like rogue classes like Marauder, Rogue, because you're pumping Dex, and Dex will scale ethereal form, but you won't necessarily want to level magic at all. And if you think that you're a little low on gear to hit your magic requirement at level 20, sometimes I'll quit spending my stats. So if I have to put like 5 to 10 points into magic to hit my prodigy requirement, I'll do that. But yeah, anything with negative life, life regen, stun immunity, like this thing, it's got 20 stun on it. Out of phase, and just life. Usually, you can even go to the store and buy like this. It's a brass lantern of life. It'll be in their shop half the time. Or you can buy heroic gloves at some stores, which will have like 40 life on them. And that's how you get through the T1s. So after you beat Dreadfell and do the ambush, you come to Last Hope and talk to this guy. And he tells you to go to Reknor. And then Reknor's up here, and it's probably the deadliest part of the game for most classes and players. But after you clear all of Reknor, you'll end up in the east, and then you go to the Sun Wall, which is it's close to the southwest. And then you talk to Aaron and get Relentless Pursuit after you talk about the staff. And then you talk to the little guy in the house and he insults you. And then you go to the northwest and Vor Armory is there and you clear that. And a little tip for that whole area is during the game you want to save a Stormbringer's weapon, like this one here, and it gives you 64% move speed. You can also just save like a Stormbringer sword and a Stormbringer dagger and stack them. And I keep them in my offset, and then when I'm moving around the map to dodge orc patrols, it gets a lot easier because it gives you this move speed over them, and well, they don't catch you as easy. But if you just approach them with your normal weapon setup, it's going to be a lot harder to dance around them. Anyway, you clear Vor Armory, and then you use your Stormbringer and you run down to Briarg's Lair, which is way in the southeast of the continent. And after you clear that, you go back to the Sun Wall, and you get to come back here. There was an ambush on the fucking town, dude. Disgusting, actually. Bro, you literally just need to die. Anyway, very cool. Very fucking cool. So when you come back from the east, you enter here and you get a pop-up giving you a code. I've already done it. And after you get that code, you find the strange portal. It spawns randomly. Then you open up Show Known Lore, you type ass, and it gives you the code. Sidelines, little circle, uplines. Then you can font your gear. This will be a good one to font. So after you clear the backup guardians and font all your gear, you go back east and you have to kill all the pride's bosses. I like to keep Stormbringer weapons in my offset because it makes you move around the map faster, so it's easier to dodge patrols. So movement speed means you'll move faster past these guys. And if you feel weak and you're wanting some specific gear before you do prides, you could always do the spider quest. And you get the spider quest from this girl. You talk to her and she's like, my husband's missing. And then you just come in here and clear the dungeon. It's pretty easy, generally, if you're playing properly. And you clear it, you get your gear. And then, personally, I like to go do the prides down here, so I'll do Rack Shores and clear it. You shouldn't do any of the vaults if you are kind of new to the game, because some of the vaults can be deadly. The Rack Shore vaults are generally safer. Don't do any of these ones, but just clear the levels, kill the guy, and then you can do this at any point. I personally do not clear all of it. I will clear these 3 floors, and then I don't do this zone, just because it's a time sink and I find it annoying. And if you don't clear this, you kind of get the bad ending. There's a tiny benefit in that the last level of High Peak, Aaron will be waiting at the portal. Otherwise, you don't have a notification of where the portal is, unless you have Burning Star. Anyway, if you're going to do this, make sure you have something like Boots of the Hunter or Worm's Nest. Worm's Nest really helps a lot because it gives you not only move speed but a jump, so you can jump past guys and you just sprint straight down the map. Between Boots of the Hunter and Worm's Nest, it's pretty easy to beat. But like I said, I don't do it personally. But if you're going to clear it, go ahead and beat it. And then after you beat it, you're going to finish the other prides, which would be Vor. And then the final pride is this one, because it leads to the slime tunnels. You can also do these vaults if you want. Some of them are pretty fucking deadly. There's specifically one super vault this was the super vault. If you get this layout and there's two guys here, these doors are dangerous as hell. Like, these rooms have very dangerous guys in there. But after you clear all this, you get to the slime tunnels, and you have to have all the orbs to activate these, and you get the orbs from killing the Pride Orc bosses. And then you just go through High Peak. You should always pre-buff when you go through, like, pop your buffs, use track, because when you go through and pop track, it'll show you where guys are. And I've already beat it, so the stairs and stuff will be shown somewhere, like right up here. But this is how I like to go through it. I'll go through with track, and then I'll just press teleport, and then I'll rest, and then I'll use all this again and see if I can see anybody. So that's just how I personally do it. You can go through it however you want. You also don't even have to fight the stair guardians. A smart way to do it is to dig. So you could, like, dig a little tunnel, usually zigzag style, and you could do multiple holes to trick them. And anyway, you just let the guy see you, and then you can run away. So you step up here, the guy sees you, and then you just run down, use your fucking movement speed buff and run away. Run around him and go up the stairs without fighting him. Because the stair guardians are some of the hardest guys in the game, so you don't always have to fight them. But yeah, you just go through every level, and by the time you get to level 10, you'll find a portal. So I skipped some floors so you can see what the portal looks like. That's what the portal would look like if you didn't have, or if you cleared the Charred Scar run, Erin won't be here. But if you have not cleared it, she'll be standing here and you have to fight her. I don't have any trouble fighting her. But yeah, to get through this portal, you're going to want to go through your gear and make sure you're wearing your best stuff, because you have to fight, the final fight of the game. And so you pre-buff up with whatever you want to be using. You go through with all your buffs active, and then to get through you have to use the Orb of Many Ways. And then you have this fight, and there's the two sorcerers, and I just kill them. But there's another mechanic with these portals here, and if you can close them using these orbs. So each orb closes one. So this is the destruction one, element, etc. You can use a movement infusion, or whatever you want to get over there. A blink rune, like a 10 range blink would be nice. And then you just end up on it. I would not be using Worm Nest in the final fight, but you get on it, you open your little inventory, and you choose Orb of Destruction here, and you click Use, and it says something like the portal's been sealed. And then you can do the same for the rest of them. But personally, I just try to blow up Elander. Sometimes I'll equip the Dissipation rune here, and the first thing I'll do when I come through the portal is I'll use it on him, and then I'll just jump him and try to kill him. And then once he's dead, you can go close the portals if you think you're going to have a trouble killing the other girl. And after you win the game, yay, you can go do some super bosses at the end of the game. You don't want to try them at all until after you beat the game, because they'll probably kill you. You have the golem here, and he stands here, and you just interact with him, and you put this eye in him, and it turns him on. And another super boss is the Mage City girl, She's very hard to kill, and yeah, you can just kill her too, and that's the end of the game. There's another secret boss called Hypostasis, and the floors of High Peak have a portal code. I have a video on that somewhere in my library, but I'm not going to talk about it now. But yeah. So just to summarize, the most important things to do in the game at the start are make sure you watch for gear that has out of phase on it, like this. All out of phase gear is very important. You also want to check every single shop every 10 levels, 10, 20, 30, 40, and you want to look for Voidstalker Cloak, elemental weapons if you use magic. You also want to, at level 20, if you're a dwarf, you want to check the dwarf shops too, but for every other character you always want to come here and check the gem shop for quartz, because if you get quartz you can go craft rings like this. I crafted these earlier. It gives you stun immunity, and stun immunity is probably the most, well, it's certainly the most important immunity to have in the game. And you buy your quartz hopefully at level 20. You come here, you buy a gold ring if they have one. If they don't, you can use a steel ring, but you craft your gold quartz ring, and sometimes you get a Randart one that's super good. Other times you get one like this, which is still super good, because you're level 20, you get 30 stun res and 10 regen. Like, a life ring is amazing. And yeah. And the other important mark after 20 is if you hit 40, while clearing Reknor over here, after you kill Master, if you hit 40 before you go through the portal, you want to come back here and check the gem shop again, because at level 40, well, you're going to want to check every shop, but specifically you want to check the gem shop because bloodstones can be stocked at level 40, and if you get any bloodstones, buy them, and then you go to, again, the ring city, Mage City, and you buy Voraton rings if they have any. Usually they do. It's kind of unlucky if you don't get one, but if you get any Voraton rings, you buy one, and then you craft a Bloodstone ring with it, and that's 60 stun res. And yeah, so you could end up with this at level 40. 60 stun immunity, 15 regen, 100 life. Like, that's huge. And like, I got one of these. I faunted these, but I got these 2 Randart Bloodstones from crafting them. And then like, look at this one, 94% stun immunity on it. It's it's game winning. So yeah, that's the most important things I can think of to help you get better at the game. Prioritize HP gear when you're low level. Like this, I have these tagged. They have 100 life on them, 4 regen. Those are pretty good boots, but I probably didn't use them this game because I was probably using some the out of phase boots. Out of phase is more important than health, and stun immunity is more important than health as well. But I would say, like, if I had a choice between hitting my out of phase caps or being at 80% stun immunity, I probably would focus on taking the out of phase, but that's up to you to figure out, because I personally prioritize out of phase over everything. I mean, just look at the boosts, it's just crazy. Like, why wouldn't you want to be that much better? And the other things you want to watch for are important gear. Like, early good gear is like Spider Robe, Shantiz. Like, this is such an amazing item. If you get it, you can get it in the T1s all the time. I use this every single character I find it on. and the only time I replace it is when I get this one. And so this is usually a late game upgrade, and you only use this if you have a bunch of crit chance, you know, because if you're critting with every hit, it gets pretty crazy. I've got 90%, which is good enough. And yeah, so with all this knowledge, you should be winning the game no problem. No problem.